The countdown to Mother's Day is on, people. This is not a drill. You only have 6 days left to get Mom a gorgeous bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. So to help you get out of this jam, 1-800-Flowers is offering an amazing deal that Mom would approve of. Today only, when you order a dozen sorbet roses, 1-800-Flowers will give you an extra half dozen roses free, plus the vase for only $29.99. That's right. Buy a dozen sorbet roses, get a half dozen plus a free vase for only $29.99. This limited time offer ends today, so order now. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Roses are the perfect way to surprise all of the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, grandma, you get it. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. Buy a dozen sorbet roses, get a half dozen free plus the vase for only $29.99. Look, that's an amazing offer, but you gotta hurry because it expires today. Whether you're surprising an aunt, sister, or mother, let them know how much you care with 1-800-Flowers.com. Order a dozen sorbet roses, get a half dozen plus a free vase for only $29.99. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code WINGO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code WINGO. And hurry, offer ends today.
Time for an oil change? Head to Jiffy Lube. We've got you covered. We've also got you covered when it comes to oil changes, thanks to Pennzoil Synthetic Motor Oil, getting you back on the road in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube. Leave worry behind.
Good Monday morning. Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Trey Wingo, Mike Golic Jr. What a weekend. Wow. What a weekend. From the Derby to the NBA playoffs to amazing things in baseball and pettiness in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Lots to get to. Lots to get to.
A ton to get to. Basketball yesterday was kind of uninspiring after what we saw on Saturday. Hockey is heating up again, but Saturday was the day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about it later. I went to a casino where they had a sports book to just, because I was alone, I wanted to go play some blackjack.
Lonely man sits in casino sports book.
Then throw a couple of shekels in the sports book. I had never been in the sports book.
You'd never been in a sports book?
I'd never been in a sports book. Really? I don't know anything about horse racing, so I just went in there to throw down a couple bucks on the
sports book can be not,
Oh, no, I know that. I get a sports book in this casino.
Gotcha.
And it is another world. They're speaking another language.
Yeah.
Just to throw down a couple of bucks. But while I'm there, there's the Celtics Sixers game finishing. I'm watching on big screens, and then I'm staying and watching the Cleveland game, the Cleveland and Toronto game. Saturday was unbelievable, starting from the Kentucky Derby on. It was fantastic.
Yeah, you had a lot going on. I mean, the only thing that I could qualify as maybe more in one day is I was out in Vegas at a sports book for the first round of the NCAA tournament, which
that's crazy.
Which might as well be a national holiday. But this was close because the Kentucky Derby and horse racing is as close to the most normalized version of betting in America as exists. And you're right, everything with horse racing is a different language. The measurement for the horses, the measurements for the track, all the different ways that you can bet it. It is it's a wild spot, but to have that going on alongside all of the action that we ended up getting later on in the day, all of the late game heroics in the Eastern Conference, it was insane.
It's everything you see in the movies, though, with these areas with the TVs and all the people with their notebooks and the sheets that you get and filling them out and cigarette and cigar smoke everywhere. And I'm like, what did I just walk into?
You feel like it's a time capsule.
I said, I just want to bet a couple bucks on the word. You want to do the trifecta, the box? I said, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying.
Just take my money.
Yes.
Please take my money.
Exactly. And I won a couple of bucks.
There you go.
But I picked the winner. I picked the favorite. Threw it down a couple bucks. I couldn't have been more vanilla in doing it. But the bottom line is some money, a couple bucks came back to me, so I was happy with it.
Let's just say that you actually did well and you won, but nobody won more than American Pharaoh in that story that came out a little earlier. We'll get out to that a little later.
Wow.
We all want to be that horse.
Yeah.
But let's start like we always do.
It's time for Off the Top.
Whether you like it or not, it's just beginning.
With Golic and Wingo.
And we start with the NBA playoffs, and I think we're finally going to get the thing we've been waiting for all regular season in the Western Conference Finals. The Warriors bounced back in a big way in Game 4, beating the Pelicans by 25 to go up 3-1 in that series. This was the first time that Golden State started its death lineup, or the Hamptons 5.
Which do we like more, by the way? Which way do we want to go?
Well, it's not actually the death lineup that we got used to, so I think that's important to differentiate. That being said, the Hampton 5 doesn't have quite the same bite.
No,
it
no,
sounds
it doesn't.
like a really bad cover band.
Yeah, it's not putting the fear of God into you.
The Hampton Five.
Even though the Hampton Five did outscore the Peloton 52-26, you can call them whatever you want. By the way, those five are Curry, Durant, Green, Iguodala, and Thompson. So, yeah, I think people will stick with the death lineup because it sounds better, I would imagine.
Yes, I think
it sounds a lot better.
I think that's going to be the movement still at this point, but I will do my best to go after and try and make the Hampton Five happen. I feel like that's important to differentiate.
Do we feel like everybody knows why that name is out there?
I feel like if not, they will after this initial run because it's the first time they've gotten a start in this. So in our defense, we haven't been introduced to them
to this group,
in a big way at the beginning of the game.
So people understand why they're called the Hamptons Five is because these were the players that all went out and tried to recruit Kevin Durant.
At the Hamptons, when he was out there. I mean, Tom Brady went out there to try and recruit him as well. I mean, and when Durant just kind of sat out there and said, everybody come to me.
It makes sense, though, that no one would actually know this game because no one sticks around late enough in Warriors games to actually see this lineup on the court because by then they're already winning by 30.
And by the way, about the game, it was basically after they got smoked by the Pelicans, it was Draymond Green who sent Kevin Durant a text at 4 a.m. saying, you got to play better, you got to play tougher. And Kevin Durant just scored 38 points. And by the way, the Pelicans never led in this game.
Correct. So in other words, Draymond Green, just keep doing those texts.
There you go. Exactly right.
Just keep texting people. Kevin Durant clearly was in the zone, brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. All right, we continue.
Off the top.
The Rockets beat the Jazz 100-87 in Utah to take a 3-1 series lead. Chris Paul, 27, 12, and 6 assists on his 33rd birthday.
More points, rebounds, assists, and field goal attempts than James Harden in this one. And they didn't even shoot well from three-point land, only 26%. The good thing for them, though, is Utah shot worse at 24%. So basically it was Harden, Paul, and Donovan Mitchell who took just about every shot in this game. And really the only fireworks in this game, because Houston led from start to finish, was the fact that Chris Paul's brother, CJ, almost got thrown out of the game sitting courtside.
Yeah, what the hell was going on?
Well, it turns out this official who tried to have him thrown out, Chris Paul's brother, CJ, played college ball, and this official supposedly reffed some of those games as well. So CJ actually said he knew this referee, and this referee told security that CJ had been saying some derogatory things. CJ basically said it wasn't me, and they were escorting him out, and Chris Paul stopped him and said, no, not happening. My brother's been to every playoff game I'm in, and I'm not in a lot. I've never been to the Western Conference Finals. The guy's not leaving the arena. They let him go back to his seat, but that was really about the fireworks of the game.
Congrats to Chris Paul for having that kind of juice. You have to imagine CJ's just salty that throughout the entire time, and we saw the Cliff Paul ad campaign for State Farm come and go, they made up a fake brother instead of using his real brother for the ad campaign. I'd be mad too.
Good point.
Well, we can all understand that.
Cliff, for crying out loud!
Of course, that Stu got yelling at our Cliff.
Oh,
but
man,
it seemed to work at the time.
Yeah, it really does.
We'll get into more of that a little bit later.
Off the top.
The Celtics and Cavaliers are both up 3-0. Sorry, Cliff. And look to close out each of these series tonight. You can listen to Game 4 between the Raptors and Cavs on ESPN Radio at 8. Teams with a 3-0 lead have never lost. 129-0 all time in the NBA playoffs.
That's pretty good, actually. James is one of 3 players in NBA history to record 300 points, 80 rebounds, 80 assists through his first 10 games. And I only like to do those stats because of the list. Jordan and Oscar Robertson. But then again, LeBron's basically in every top list you're going to be. And he just keeps adding to his resume with the way he ended the game on Saturday night. And what the Celtics and 76ers game was unbelievable. End of regulation, end of overtime, what went on, just inbounding the ball or steals that was going against Philadelphia in this one. 2 really, really good games on Saturday with 2 teams about to meet again. Remember when they met last year, it was an absolute, destruction by the Cavaliers over the Celtics. And you can do nothing but keep praising the Celtics for what they're doing with all their players hurt.
Yeah, you've seen the importance of, on one side, what a coach can do with minimal help around him, and what a player can do. Really, LeBron James and Brad Stevens have been doing the same thing for this season, which is being the steadying force while nothing but change and chaos goes on around them. For the Celtics, it was injury. For the Cavs, it was lack of performance that had them swapping out the majority of their lineup. And for my money, the most impressive thing LeBron James has done is he's made us believe that they could possibly that I've heard people talking about them possibly being able to challenge Golden State or Houston coming out of the East. The fact that he's made people even bring it up at all is impressive because we know they're not going to win. But the fact that we're allowing him to entertain us like this and make us believe even a little bit shows just how great this guy is.
Well, we can get into a much longer discussion about what this playoff run has meant for LeBron James's legacy in a year that he probably will not win the title. And that's the weird thing about it.
Yeah.
It may change it completely. But for the immediate succession right now, the immediate scenario, do either the Sixers or Raptors get a game? Either one get a game?
Man, they have to be.
I don't think the Raptors have any chance.
This is one of those where the winning teams here can just take the wind out of their sails, and that's what you look to do now is end it and get that extra rest without question. So I would be hard pressed to think either of them will.
I think the Sixers have a puncher's chance because it's at home, and the last game went to overtime.
I mean, we saw them 2 games ago have a 22-point lead or whatever, and they've blown 20-point leads 5 times this year, so they never feel safe.
No, they don't. And for the Raptors, I mean, two of the 3 games so far have been close. The one they led all the way until overtime in this last game, more of the same.
Way to hit the ramp. Nicely done, Junior.
Well done.
Nicely done. So I would say, I think the Sixers have a chance, but I think the Raptors are just crushed. They're in a fetal position.
Oh my
somewhere in their
gosh!
hotel room.
Yeah, they're ready for the offseason.
What happened? All right. Meanwhile,
as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Give it up, man, for the Golden Knights. They beat the Sharks 3-0 to win the series in 6 games. The Golden Knights are in the Western Conference Finals in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
How amazing! How amazing is that? They join the St. Louis Blues from 1967 and the Toronto Arenas. Yes.
How about the
Toronto Arenas from 1917 as the only franchises in NHL history to win multiple playoff series in their inaugural season. They will play either the Jets or the Preds. They won both those regular season series against them. Marc-Andre Fleury is 70th career playoff win. 4th shutout this postseason, 14th of his postseason career. So he's obviously playing. We know how important a goalie can be in hockey. And give it up to the Lightning. They beat the Bruins 3-1, and they won that series 4-1. They'll play either the Capitals or Penguins, who are playing tonight, and they won both those season series as well.
Did you say how important a Golic could be?
A goalie. Did
we hear that?
Well,
I don't know.
Golic can be pretty important.
Honestly, I think both could be just as important.
I
would totally agree with you.
We can tell you how important one Golic is. There's a reason 1 hour of this show's on ESPN2 now.
Wait, researcher Brett, do we have confirmation?
Wow. He said Golic.
I did?
He's not wrong.
Here's the thing.
I hear a drop in our future.
If our Golic were to play hockey, there was only one position we would be playing. That would be goalie.
You are Golic, the goalie.
Because we couldn't skate.
Oh, it's the same way in youth soccer. It's the same way in hockey. All the above. It's it's the only way it's going to work. By the way, the Bruins got bounced here, but not before our guy Brad Marchand got admonished for his licking, nuzzling, and cuddling. Apparently, he's trying to get his American Pharaoh.
We had this talk the Friday of the draft when you had your throat issue working. Mike had no problem with all of that. There's no licking, there's no nuzzling, and there's no cuddling in sports.
And Lance Stevenson, there's no blowing in your ear.
There you go.
That's
exactly right.
Free throw line, right?
Well, going back to our original headline, we know there's licking, nuzzling, and cuddling involved in being a winning horse.
Seems so.
Actually, we don't know that.
Wow.
We just know that the end result is there.
Oh wow, team no cuddles. That'd be tough. There's got to be some bedside manner there.
200,000. You think you get some cuddling?
Exactly. That's got to come with the package.
We're throwing out. We'll get into that story.
Okay.
We'll get into that story a little later. But by the way, before we move on, is there a worse nickname in sports than the Toronto Arenas?
The Arenas.
Like the Toronto Stadiums?
I'm with you.
That's what you came up with?
Agreed.
I don't quite understand that one. All right, we continue.
Off the top.
The Yankees continue to do Yankee things. They have won 15 of their last 16, and the most recent in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, Glaber. Oh, I didn't know we were playing the... okay. No. I thought it was a play-by. That's my fault. That's my fault.
That's okay.
Guys, please stop messing up my hour on E2.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Gleyber Torres became the youngest player in Yankee history with a walk-off home run. He's only 144 days past legally being able to drink.
Unbelievable.
21 years, 144 days. The previous youngest player was a guy named Mickey Mantle, who was 41 days older.
Whatever happened to him?
Things worked out well.
Yeah.
New York trailed by 4 runs in the 8th inning against the Indians. In the last 2 weeks, the Yankees have trailed in the 8th inning or later 5 times. They won 4 of them. Give it up to Domingo Germán as well. His first career start, pitched 6 innings, struck out 9, and allowed no hits. So getting it done in New York right now. They're only a game behind Boston in the East.
The youth movement, right? All these guys going out here and performing young. Giancarlo Stanton, the elder statesman at 28, had a weird moment for me this morning where I had to wonder if I'm technically young, because that in the sports world starts to make you feel a little older as you near 30. But for this is kind of what we had in mind for the Yankees as far as who would perform those couple of Julys ago when we saw them start to mortgage the present in favor of that farm system in future. The expectations got ratcheted up as they still continue to perform, but you're seeing the young players that they wanted to bet on in this netting positive results for them.
I mean, it's amazing with the hot start that the Red Sox have gotten off to, 25-9. They're winning 74% of their games, and they're only a game up on the Yankees. I mean, that's the amazing thing, that because the Red Sox were so far ahead of everybody. And the Yankees have decided they're not going to lose.
You know what it is?
Again.
It's a long season.
Little scare for the Red Sox now, too.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts taking that ball to the shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Well, speaking of taking a baseball where you don't want to take a baseball, we can get into that a little later, but force them out for Yachty or Molina. We'll have that discussion.
Prayers up.
Little Yachties.
A little bit later. All right, so that was off the top, but I think we're finally getting to the point where we thought we were all going to be in February, and that is Golden State taking on Houston for the right to represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. We're going to get there, right? This is going to happen. Although, give Chris Paul all the credit in the world, he is taking nothing for granted.
It's the process, man. I've been here before, 3-1. It went bad real quick. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. We're just enjoying the process. Want to get home, see my family. You know what I mean? Good birthday gift. I'll take it.
Man, that word process getting used a lot this year.
That was on
it?
TNT, by the way, that sound came from. But I was just thinking about Sam Hinkie, right? He's like, everybody is now using that. It's in football. It's every other sport, and every other team is using it. And the guy that started it all and saw the results come to fruition in Philadelphia is now out of work.
If he would have really seen the light back then, he would have copyrighted that.
That's
right?
exactly
the
right.
process. He would have put that
I'm
down.
wondering because we now famously hear about Nick Saban's process at Alabama. That's what it always comes back to, and I've heard multiple players mention it. I'm not sure we ever heard that before Sam Hinkie's process. If nothing else, you can disagree with the way he executed towards the end, but the branding there was strong.
Yeah, well, and didn't Pat Riley, the three-peat, didn't he try and copyright? Yeah. The three-peat. So, I mean, heck, why not? I don't think Hinkie ever did it, so he's lost out on that. But to that point, I mean, you're right. We're getting to Houston. We thought, man, New Orleans, after what they did in the first round, could they give Golden State any kind of run at all? Turns out no. They had the one monster game in Game 3, to which led to the Draymond Green. Again, Draymond Green, after Game 3, New Orleans blew out Golden State. He texted Kevin Durant at 4 a.m. because he was upset watching tape. He said, when we lose that bad, I like to keep watching the video of our mistakes. And he texted Draymond Green or Kevin Durant a long text basically saying, you got to be you got to play aggressive, you got to be who you are. And 38 points later, I'd say he took it to heart.
And if we know Draymond wants to impress anyone, we know Kevin Durant wants to impress anyone, it's Draymond Green. He spent the majority of the season trying to emulate him, picking up personal and technical fouls. Only right that he would respond well to Draymond now, but that's what Draymond's role in this team has always been.
Isn't that exactly what he is, right? He's the agitator for the other team, and he's kind of that glue for sometimes a rough glue, but you know what? He's still that guy that kind of keeps everybody together.
As for the death lineup of the Hamptons lineup, here's Steph Curry talking about that after the win.
The versatility of that lineup, and everybody's a playmaker, and defensively we flying around. Just got the energy right to start the game, and we took advantage of it, got the momentum on our side, and able to set the right tone for bouncing back after a terrible Game 3.
So, I mean, look, that it's funny. That was the first time that lineup has sort of been there. It's like, what took you so long? Why didn't we use that lineup before?
Well, I mean, it's
I understand
tough.
there were injuries.
And plus it's tough to complain on anything they've done in the past.
Also
it's
true.
All worked out. And listen, this was a 7-point game at halftime. As I said, neither game the losing team led it all, but it's not like they were out of it completely. It's a 7-point game at halftime. Again, coming down to that third quarter. How do you come out of the locker room? Warriors won the third quarter 33-19. And in fact, the Pelicans only scored 38 points in the second half overall. So, I mean, the adjustments, how you come out, where momentum is. New Orleans in that game, but shot horrifically bad from three-point land. They took 6 attempts, made 15% of them. So you're not sticking with Golden State when you're doing that.
No, you're not. I understand what Trey's getting at, though, because in their 18 minutes on the floor, they doubled up on the Pelicans with that lineup.
52-26.
And we've seen in the past, it's like anything else. It's when you mix it in. But Golden State always responds to being provoked. This season, they've sort of needed that, in all honesty. They probably needed that little bit of kick in the pants. They understand who they are, and that's the difference between them and the Rockets. They understand exactly who they are, and they know what they're capable of. They just don't want to waste that before they have to. Houston and Chris Paul, like he just said, can't really afford to take this for granted because that's an earned place in this.
Yeah, and again, they were up 3-1. The Clippers were when Chris Paul was in the Clippers, ironically against the Rockets.
Yeah, he won't be happy until they had that 4 wins and they moved on. He's been there, done that.
A little bit of a different situation when you've got the presumptive MVP on your team and
so.
Clint Capella's block party.
You like your chances a little better here, but again, he's not counting anything yet. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Small business protection just got easier with more than 30 coverage options available. Progressive has you covered. More at progressivecommercial.com. So again, the most important thing you can take out of this opening segment more than anything else is
we know how important a goalie can be in hockey. Yeah, I think so. Put us between the pipes.
You guys are versatile.
Well,
you guys are versatile.
You want dynamic? I'm a
You are a professional.
Devin, the betrayal of all people.
Yeah,
Devin to sell me down the river to Cliff, who wasn't paying attention. Don't think I didn't see that, Cliff. You weren't paying attention.
He was all, but you're right. And Devin was like, "Did you not see that?
Yeah.
Did you not hear that? Unbelievable,
man! Betrayal.
I misspoke on hockey. What can I tell you?
That's all right.
Goalie, either way.
It's fine, man. We're dynamic.
We are versatile. Keyword.
Yes. Coming up is Dwayne Casey's job on the line tonight with the Raptors. I mean, again, they are. It's soul crushing what's happened to them if you're a Raptors fan. We'll get into that, plus a little conversation about Saturday Night Live that you may not know.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Love scoring amazing hotel deals? Then you've got to get the Hotel Tonight app. Forget scrolling through never-ending lists of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can book up to 100 days in advance in top destinations and up to a week in advance everywhere else. Want to get those deals? Yeah, you do. Download the Hotel Tonight app now.
Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our phone guest joined us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and just a few seconds ago, Mike Golic Jr. said one of the smartest things I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
Our Adam Amin is on an unbelievable roll in great game-winning calls. I mean, it's just going back to the women's NCAA final and the playoffs. It seems like he's been there for every single one of these games. It's amazing.
He's got a great call. He's used to having a great call now. We're used to hearing that scream out of him.
He does, and he's got great delivery for it. He's clearly, the moment, we know this about Adam Amin, the moment is not too big for him.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look, there was a time whenever Steve Levy was doing an NHL playoff game, it was guaranteed to go to double or triple overtime. Like every time Levy would call a game, double or triple overtime for sure. And now it feels like every time Adam Amin is calling a basketball game, it is destined to have some sort of unbelievable ending to it.
Yeah, and
no, I feel like the only thing more sure than this is Phillip Rivers down a touchdown, down a score with like 60 seconds left in a game, leading up to 60 minutes following it. That's the only more surefire force in sports. 60 minutes, Phillip Rivers.
That is Straight Talk, by the way, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. And I think we have to come to some sort of understanding now what we're getting out of LeBron James, right? I mean, it's anybody pretending that what we're seeing isn't amazing at this point, you're just in it for the sport of it.
You know, there's two things to discuss here. One is obviously the greatness of LeBron and the way he's doing things. We saw for a couple of games, you know, the fadeaway jumpers. He had one in this game as well.
Running one-hander, calling glass.
And the winner here, and a lot of people are going to say, Toronto, how are you guarding him? What are you doing? You know what he likes to do in these situations. What are you doing?
What are we doing?
And so we're going to get to his greatness, but for a moment, I'm going to say he's getting some help. Now, a lot of people are going to say, this is Toronto. They have Toronto's number. Let's see what happens next when they play Boston, a team that has two of their best players that are out.
Correct.
Won the entire season and won, and Kyrie Irving that you didn't think they could overcome, and they may not with Cleveland. We'll see. But they've been playing unbelievably well. But he is getting help. Kevin Love has been playing incredibly well, scoring in the 30s, in the 20s, 16 rebounds. Kyle Korver has been hitting shots for them. Jeff Green has been hitting shots for them. So
Kevin Love, the last couple of games.
That's what I said. Yeah. He is really starting. He's coming along extremely well. So they're getting the help, which makes you think, okay, can they A, get to the finals, and B, can anybody give Golden State? I still think Golden State's going to beat Houston as we look forward to that. But man, LeBron is great, no doubt about that. But he's starting to get the help that everybody was expecting from some of these other players.
It's about time, right? This is the Kyle Korver they expected 2 years ago when they brought him over. They're finally getting. This is the Kevin Love you're supposed to be when you get your own This Is SportsCenter commercial. For LeBron James, I just sit here now and wonder aloud on the other side, could you imagine still trying to hate on this guy? Could you imagine trying to? I mean, it's got to be exhausting, though. Yeah. I can't think of a tougher job in sports than trying to find ways to tear this guy down right now.
Trying working with two Golics every morning.
Well, there you go.
That's difficult. Who think they're goaltenders, by the way, which is a crazy thought. But it is, to your point, I feel like this might be, because they're not winning the championship. That's not happening, right? I think we can all agree the Cavaliers are not going to win the NBA.
It would be more hope than thought that they could.
Let's put it this way, though. The confidence meter has moved up some during the course of this playoff run, and the fact that it has at all is a testament to his greatness.
That's my point. We feel like he's getting the respect he finally deserves, maybe, as he has a chance to get to his 8th straight conference final with teams that he's played on, in a situation where there's probably the smallest chance of maybe out of any of them where he has a chance to actually win the ring. I mean, perspective is weird that way, right? Sometimes, they didn't win it a second year with Kyrie Irving last year. Oh, he's terrible. LeBron's never going to be this or that. And now we're like watching him do this with others. The group is others, and it's like, this guy might actually be really, 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 really good.
It seems like it's either you have to win a championship for us to give you credit about something. Chris Paul knows all about that. Despite his stellar career, not even getting to a conference finals means we're largely going to downgrade anything he does. But for LeBron James on the other side, all you can do is swing the degree of difficulty. Like, short of playing with a folding table and Air Bud, this is as close we're going to get to him playing with absolutely nothing.
But this is all that's left in LeBron's arsenal of what he can do is win champion. That's it.
Yep.
All he can offer you every year when the season starts is, can he win a championship? That's the only thing he's measured by. Fair or unfair, however you want to put it, that's the only thing he can be measured by, right? I mean, because at this point, is there anybody that doesn't think, I'm sure there are, obviously.
There are.
That the top two are Michael Jordan and LeBron.
Yeah.
Has LeBron overtaken Jordan? No, Jordan's still better than LeBron. There are others I know that put other players in there. I get it. But for the most part, that's been the battle. That's what LeBron will continue to fight. And it's going to be, as great as he's playing, so many people are still going to measure it by championships, fair or unfair.
But I don't feel like that's the case right now. Like, I feel like we're allowing ourselves to be pretty amazed and to talk pretty glowingly about the things he's adding to his resume, knowing he's probably not going to win a championship. And that's interesting for me to watch happen in real time, because for the longest time when LeBron got to Miami and everywhere else, it wasn't even just, can you get over the hump and win one? It was, all right, how many are you going to add? Yeah. Have we now gotten to a place where we understand what Golden State is, what a force they are, or are
it's called the death lineup, for crying out loud?
By the way, could we call them Death in the Hamptons? Could that be a better way to combine those two?
Yeah,
I mean, it also
sounds, that's a book title.
Yeah,
it does. That does sound like a podcast.
It does,
or like a daytime soap title.
Run that one. I like that. Let's go Death in the Hamptons. Speaking of death, it could be over tonight for Toronto, and Tyronn Lue, the head coach of the Cavs, saying, I don't know who the pressure is on, but it's a tough game because either win or go home for the team down 3-0, but we've got to find a way to close it out. I kind of feel like this is just formality tonight. Don't you feel that way?
Well, I mean, listen, do we think that either Philly or Toronto could sneak a game out?
I think Philly has. I mean, Toronto has been, their soul has been crushed.
The one thing
their soul has been crushed.
It really has, because listen, we talked about the two games yesterday where neither losing team led the entire way, and it showed In this one, Toronto never led the entire way, but man, they made a run in the fourth quarter.
They did.
To tie it up before that great shot by LeBron, but they really made themselves a nice run. But this is a game now, in both these games, closeout games, when it's 3-0, you can take the air out of your opponent with an early run, I think.
What does this mean for Toronto going forward? Dave McMenamin, of course, our ESPN Cavs reporter, was on the Morning Roast yesterday and said this about what a loss tonight might mean for Toronto.
I don't think Dwayne Casey's going to be the coach if they get swept. And, they have a very well-respected coach in Jerry Stackhouse in our organization. There was already, having covered LeBron in the playoffs against this team the last couple of years, I've gotten a sense for how well-respected Jerry Stackhouse is in that organization. I think that could be one first step to trying to get this thing going. But, a deep bench is a great idea, and it helps you win games in the regular season. But it's a lot different playing an up-and-down style with a bench mob during the regular season where every possession doesn't matter, to then needing guys like Pascal Siakam and Jakob Poeltl and Fred VanVleet to be a huge part of what you do in the playoffs.
So basically,
wow,
there may be too much going on in Toronto.
I mean, we've gone from number one seed, maybe coach of the year, to they're different, air quotes.
Yeah.
They're different now, to their coach may be fired and they get swept in the second round.
I've been the biggest proponent for change in Toronto after this season if this doesn't work, because the core guys here has proven they can't get over this one hump. And it's
9 straight playoff losses to the Cavs.
It's a pretty big hump to get over. It's like saying because we can't beat Golden State, you're not a good basketball team. Right. You're just not a historically great basketball team. But man, with how much we know, how little for the most part coaching actually affects what goes on outside of certain situations, if it's the beginning of change, I can understand it. If it's the only meaningful change, what a mistake.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. So what do we say is going to be different? Because unless they're going to change a lot of the players as well. You're saying, so then basically you're saying we're changing because, you know what it reminds me of? Marty Schottenheimer.
Yep.
Marty Schottenheimer could get to a point right before the Super Bowl, get to a point and couldn't get over the hump. So it's like, I will change the coach. And
Andy Reid in Philadelphia,
and that's going to make all the difference in the world. Well, and then Philly ended up over. It's been some time. I
they basically got Andy Reid the sequel, and Doug Peterson, and they
exactly.
got it done. Yeah.
So I'm with you. I mean, let's change the coach. Yeah, that's going to be the difference. And if you have basically the same team next year and the same thing happens, then what are you going to do?
Tonight could be 10 straight playoff losses for Toronto. 10 straight. And by the way, I think we're all expecting that to be the case. Right? It's really, really bizarre.
Washing my nose, oh yeah.
I'm a shower curtain, and I do one thing, keep water from leaking everywhere. So you see why I feel useless compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could Geico save you money, but they've been around for over 75 years. And they give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or on the Geico app. And they've got a 97% customer satisfaction rating. They do all this while I have to listen to this chucklehead. Oh, good, he stopped.
Washing my toes.
Oh, great, an encore.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
This is an interesting phenomenon I stumbled upon, that if you just add book it to the end of any phrase, the shorter the better, it makes it immediately a hot take.
Owen says, Jaguars win the Super Bowl, book it.
I like Tim's poutine.
Book it. Man, that's a strong point from Tim.
That is. LeBron is Toronto's kryptonite.
No.
Book it.
I like Steve's better. Josh Allen will break a table before the season starts. # Bills Mafia. Book it.
SportsCenter brought to you by Amazon. Mother's Day is coming. Instead of getting her the same expected gift, find millions of gifts as unique as her on Amazon. You get free shipping on eligible orders over $25. Shop now at Amazon.com/Mother's Day.
Yep, coming up. We're in the home stretch. Got to get that stuff taken care of this week.
Absolutely.
Got to get that stuff taken care of. Okay, so obviously Mother's Day is coming after the first Saturday in May, which is the Run for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby. And again, you, my man, had a very good Kentucky Derby.
I did. It went well. It was the first time I was in the sports book at Mohegan Sun, the casino that my wife and I, and even the kids, we like to go gamble a little bit.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm just going to go play a little bit. And then I went into the sports book to make a bet. And it really is a different world in there.
Different language.
Threw down a couple of bucks on Justify because it was a favorite. I figured I don't know anything about this. Pretty easy, even though it was a muddy track. I wasn't sure. I won a couple bucks. It was fun.
Justifies a mutter. That's what we figured out now.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing which was interesting is that was the 6th straight Derby in which the favorite had won. I think that last happened in the 19 teens, I think, something long time. But anyway, so now the only horse that has a chance to win the Triple Crown would be Justify.
Right.
By By the all four of Bob Baffert's previous Derby winners, and Justify as a Bob Baffert horse, went on to win the Preakness. So we might be looking at this scenario
Belmont's
going forward.
Good pedigree.
So anyway, if you win the Triple Crown, you have a horse that is a moneymaker, basically. And I think Justify is actually have the bloodlines of Secretariat. I think there's some of the bloodlines of a horse that blah, 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 blah,
yeah, right.
is down the line. But the way they do this is they put a horse out to stud. And American Pharoah, the Triple Crown winner in 2015, is living the life we would all like to lead in retirement, Mike.
I mean, I'm just reading from this article, the things that say, he'll have sex up to 3 times a day. That's the life for a big-time stud. And the quote is, they enjoy it quite a bit.
I was about to say, did that need to be added? This is awful. Please don't do this.
So here's how it's written. He now commands $200,000 per cover / has impregnation. Right. Yeah. And according to the New York Times, has taken to his new career with the same drive and skill as he did on the racetrack. He should make about $30 million this year alone, and already has success in the breeding shed with an 80% strike rate. That's what they call it. I'm just reading it.
Strike rate.
Sounds like my transition into life after football.
Oh, please.
Strike rate?
Sex 3 times a day at $200,000 per. So you may ask, okay, is it only, the top of the line horses here that make the big money? No. Tappet, who finished 9th in the 2004 Kentucky Derby, used to make.
Wait.
I know.
Tappet?
I know.
Tappet?
Yeah.
Well, if the horse's name is Tappet, his strike rate's got to be higher. I mean,
listen,
that's fair.
What
right?
can I tell you?
That's fair.
What can I tell you? Tappet finished 9th in the 2004 Kentucky Derby, and started out in 2005 getting $15,000. Okay, but since the offspring had so much success, that Tappet now gets $300,000. It's the highest rate in the United States for stud fees. How about that? This is great the way it's written. These stallions quickly learn their new responsibilities. When Tappet leaves his wide, comfortable stall, there are 2 possible destinations, the paddock or the breeding shed.
Yeah.
The breeding sessions take just a few minutes. A group of supervisors lead the stallion to the mare in the shed to make sure the deed gets done.
Well, then
are you okay over there, Mike? You're like a 2-year-old over there.
Jokes.
Yeah, don't do them.
I can't do any of them.
Just don't do them.
Wide and comfortable, Tappet.
Go ahead.
I mean, my God.
Just save it for your
Happy Mother's Day indeed. American Pharoah's out here making plenty of them.
How about it?
And then there's the best part here that you left out.
Yeah.
Beforehand and afterward, there's not much room for cuddling, foreplay, or breakfast. A stallion gets in and gets out.
You would think, and it only takes a couple of minutes, and certainly guys are used to that, but nothing. $200,000, no cuddling, no nothing, no licking, no nuzzling, no cuddling.
Just call her an Uber.
I mean, come on.
Live your life.
Come on.
Live your life. $30 million in a year.
I was going to say, this is the Derek Jeter of horses right here.
$30 million.
The Uber's waiting outside the stall, honey.
Wow.
We're good.
200,000, not even the most. 300,000 is the most now. Wow.
And I think Justified does have Secretariat bloodlines in him.
There's a nice basket of oats waiting outside of the stall here for you.
Basket of oats.
What a living, right?
Yeah. I
don't even know where to go
hurts.
with this.
To the farm.
Wow.
That's where you want to go with this. To the farm.
Honestly, of all those numbers, we heard so many numbers in there. The most impressive by far there. Three in one day. I mean, no offense, but for most adult men after retirement, that's going to break your hip.
It's really good. It's a tough one. Breeding
you
season
went with a broken hip card.
Yeah,
that's what you played. Okay.
Breeding season runs from February to July. That's basically, and it slows down in June.
So the thoroughbreds enjoy a 4 or 5 month sex romp with a whole lot of food to meet energy demands.
Let me tell you what the crack research team here at First and Last has been up to. I just have Devin in my ear.
By the way, this is Golic and Wingo, just so you know.
What did I say?
First and Last.
First and Last. Well, I mean, the first hour of the show's basically anyway. They put us on E2 for a reason.
Uh-huh.
You're not the reason.
No.
Devin in my ear just says, we're back here Googling horse sex jokes.
Okay.
On a work computer, huh, Devin?
Wow.
It is research.
It is research.
Devin, go ahead and read the joke you found.
Stable relationships are for horses.
Oh, You Googled it, and that's what you got?
That was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless.
That alone
nationwide coverage on America's largest, most dependable
when
4G LTE networks.
Your boy Eloy gets called up. That joke alone, you've just ruined that. But he's got a live arm. Speaking of live arms, that's a separate issue entirely. So anyway, again, a tip of the cap to American Pharaoh, and remember, justify, keep it up. This could be your future. Coming up, the end of an era in New York, and we'll explain another situation that may need explaining. Stay with us.
Ryan! I don't know how else to say this, so I'll just say it.
What is it, Linda?
I think we should see other people.
Are you breaking up with me? On a roller coaster?
Well, we do have a lot of fun. Maybe we should stay together.
An emotional roller coaster? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I just need a little me time.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
The countdown to Mother's Day is on, people. This is not a drill. You only have 6 days left to get Mom a gorgeous bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. So to help you get out of this jam, 1-800-Flowers is offering an amazing deal that Mom would approve of. Today only, when you order a dozen sorbet roses, 1-800-Flowers will give you an extra half dozen roses free, plus the vase for only $29.99. That's right. Buy a dozen sorbet roses, get a half dozen plus a free vase for only $29.99. This limited time offer ends today, so order now. With an impressive mix of pastel shades in pink, orange, and lavender, these roses are guaranteed to make her smile. Roses are the perfect way to surprise all of the moms in your life. Wife, aunt, sister, grandma, you get it. These breathtaking roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. Buy a dozen sorbet roses, get a half dozen free plus the vase for only $29.99. Look, that's an amazing offer, but you got to hurry because it expires today. Whether you're surprising an aunt, sister, or mother, let them know how much you care with 1-800-Flowers.com. To order a dozen sorbet roses, get a half dozen plus a free vase for only $29.99. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code WINGO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code WINGO. And hurry, offer ends today.
Great news! There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to Geico.com today and see how much you could save.
LeBron with 5, across the timeline with 4.
I've been fortunate enough to just get a handful of those in some of the biggest moments in my career.
LeBron on the left wing, drives, corner for the win! Banks it in! LeBron James delivers!
This is what he does in a way he doesn't do it to any other team in the league.
Toronto can't get over this hump.
Working our way through a Monday morning. Golic and Wingo, glad you're with us on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. It could come to an end tonight for both Philadelphia and Toronto, as the Celtics and Cavs are both up 3-0 in those series, respectively, and they both play tonight. The first game is Boston, right? First game is Boston.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. Another the 6 o'clock start is just incredible. 6 and then 8:30.
Love it.
Wow,
love it.
And this time around, it's Boston and with the first one, it's 6 o'clock. Yeah,
correct. So we'll see what happens there. By the way, we had a couple of games yesterday. Obviously, the Warriors are up 3-1, and Houston is also 3-1. The Warriors led wire to wire in their Game 4 win, and protecting the lead is brought to you by ADT. Considering home security, consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. Visit ADT.com to learn more. We got Ryan Hollins coming up at the bottom of the hour, talk a little about the NBA playoffs and maybe some of the things we were talking about with how the perspective of LeBron has maybe changed in a year where he probably won't win, yet somehow we're finally looking at him in a different light. But let's do what we do with what's trending. And it was the Warriors bouncing back in a big way in Game 4. The death lineup, death in the Hamptons. The Hamptons lineup really led the way to take that 3-1 series lead over the Pelicans.
Really need to find a better name. People can be creative out there to find a name for this
Natural
group.
evolution of this. So we've gone from the Hamptons 5 to Death in the Hamptons. Try this one on for size.
Okay.
Weekend at Bernie's.
See, you're just copying then.
Yeah.
You got to be original.
Well, that's
Weekend at Bernie's.
See, here's the deal with
I'm bringing something old back to help you guys. I'm trying to meet you guys in the middle.
No. We want more creativity than that.
And by the way,
I stole that from Brett.
Weekend at Bernie's was just a dead guy. This horse is, I mean, no, they're not dead.
Yeah, it's a dead guy in the Hamptons. It's the Hamptons 5, then it was a death in the Hamptons. Weekend at Bernie's was literally about a death in the Hamptons. I can't spoon feed it to you.
Okay, all right, you're going to want to keep working on that. Curry, Durant, Draymond Green, Iguodala, and Thompson.
Awful.
That is the lineup. They outscored the Pelicans 52-26 in 18 minutes. I think the interesting thing here, after they got blown out by New Orleans, Draymond Green was watching that video. He couldn't sleep and was so disgusted by it. He texted Kevin Durant at 4 a.m. and saying, Kevin, you got to play better on both ends of the court. You got to be more aggressive. Kevin Durant took it to heart, said, I got you, and ended up scoring 38 in this game. Kevin Durant, for my money, is the best player on Golden State, a team that's the best team in the league. And it looks like now that they're going to take this series and we're going to get what we want in that Houston and Golden State Western Conference Finals.
And you know they have that relationship. We've seen that from KD right? and Draymond, where they understand his role on this team. Forget to just be an agitator and a mouthpiece, but he's also the guy that can push people internally in this way, because there is an alternate reality where Kevin Durant could get this text and be like, dude, you had 8 points in the last game.
Yeah,
why don't you try something?
Yeah, exactly. But this was the first time ever since Kevin Durant became a Warrior, for whatever reason, some of it injury, obviously, that these 5 were out there at the started to start a game. And Steve Kerr was asked why now and why this lineup.
Obviously, it is our best 5 players, so if you can get to your best 5 players, that's what you want to do. I didn't feel comfortable doing it last game. I wanted to continue to bring Steph back a little bit before we got it going, because a lot of the small lineup is based on the high screens with Steph, and I wanted to see him a little bit more. I thought tonight he made a breakthrough conditioning-wise, and he was moving much better than he was in game 3. But you're on the road, you're threatened. You put your best 5 guys out there, and they start like that. It sets a great tone.
So let's just assume that we're going to start the game tonight with that lineup.
Yeah,
right? That should be what happens, right?
It certainly can set a great tone. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and it did. As we mentioned, both the games yesterday, start to finish, led by the winning team. So not a whole lot there going on. Pelicans were only down 7 at halftime. Third quarter, they got absolutely blown out. And we'll see. When people say, why haven't you started this lineup during the season? We can't sit here and complain too much about what Golden State's done over the last few years.
They're doing just fine. We should all be as horrible as the Warriors have been the last 3 years. By the way, the Celtics and Cavaliers, again, both up 3-0 and can close out both of these series tonight. Teams with a 3-0 lead are unbeaten in NBA playoff history, 129-0.
I don't think that's going to change. It's just a matter, do they both sweep, or does the other team get one out of this? And I'm sure, especially LeBron, would love to rest a little bit. Can't say enough in Boston, Mike, about Jason Tatum and what he's doing. And who would have thought the big 3, we used to saying that there when it was Allen, Pierce, and Garnett, that it's now Tatum, Al Horford, and Terry Rozier. I mean, that's your big 3 right now. But Tatum has been absolutely incredible in a year where we've talked about Ben Simmons and Donovan Mitchell. What Tatum has been able to do has been amazing. And a lot of people talk about Philadelphia maybe giving that game away. They did with some lazy passes and some mistakes during it. But still, what Boston's done to me, for my money, has been, from a team aspect, the most impressive thing in these playoffs, given the injury, while individually it's certainly been LeBron.
This has been the one series where I think the outcome wasn't what we expected, right? In every other series, we expected Cleveland to take Toronto. We expected both those teams in the West to win, but we had upgraded Philadelphia to a team that we were putting in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Brad Stevens has clouded that. Brad Stevens has clouded, alongside Greg Popovich, but that's a name we've known for a while, of what we think we can expect from coaching at this point in the NBA. And we're seeing it play out in real time, where Brett Brown and Dwayne Casey are both receiving a lot of harsh criticism for their coaching jobs in these big stages.
Yeah, and that seems a little,
It seems like an overreaction.
Thank you.
It seems like especially in Philadelphia, where we went from talking about this team being set for after the Cavs and the Warriors window to now thinking they belong in the Eastern Conference Finals and freaking out because that hasn't happened. That all feels a bit reactionary.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. These coaches have done a pretty good job all year long to break down these the ATO plays that aren't working. It's like, come on. And we're parsing it pretty thin.
Yeah, it just seems like a bit much, and that's coming from someone. I'll be interested. Ryan Hollins is coming in studio of how much is appropriate to both ask and expect of a head coach, not knowing what you don't have one of the greats like a Brad Stevens or a Popovich who gives you a decided advantage. I want to know how much you can expect from the rest.
All that being said, though, I do like what Brad Stevens has done in those situations. He's maybe a play on both sides of the fence.
Really does. Sure. Yeah, that is true.
All right, the clock is running. We're moving on. There you go. I got past it. Speaking of getting past it, the Mets are past Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey designated for assignment. He refused, so basically his time with the Mets organization is over.
Yeah, and it's always interesting, Mike, I heard you talking about this morning when somebody leaves an organization, how the whispers turn into shouts or into real conversation that gets out. And first and foremost for the Mets, the pitching staff you counted on, as I said, Met fans wait for the shoe to drop. Matt Harvey's not what he's had been in the past. He's gone. Jacob deGrom, hyperextended elbow. Oh, he'll make his next start. Goes on the DL instead for safety precautions, and we'll see where that goes. But Met fans are just too used to this. But with Matt Harvey, listen, he just didn't want to go to the minors, so he gets designated for assignment. And then when that happens, it's like, some guys are like, oh, he was a fine teammate. Others, he was kind of a loner, kind of did his own thing. It's amazing how that all bubbles to the surface after somebody's out the door.
You know what Matt Harvey sounds like? Plenty of guys I've seen in a locker room. Plenty of guys where you know them in the building, you've got that working relationship, and that's about it. And he might not be the friendliest or anything else, but all this just comes out to the dude wasn't good. The dude in the role you were asking to play this year had an ERA up over 10. All of these things don't matter. And really, you hear the comments, they're not even that inflammatory.
No, they're not.
And they're anonymous comments. This is the area we'd expected. So that should tell you all of this is more overblown than it gets.
You're right. They're not even that bad comments at all. And the bottom line is, if he was doing what he did a while ago and winning, nobody would be saying a word. It would just be like, hey, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's going out there and he's winning for us.
Winning is the ultimate deodorant.
Yes, it is.
When you're winning, everything is fine. And when you're not winning or you're not performing at your best, everything is a problem. And nobody can ever find the in-between between those two things, Junior.
Yeah, no, I say performing well is probably the operative term because we talk all the time about how wins and losses is not always a great metric for starting pitching.
Correct, but he has a 7 ERA in 8 outings this year and had a 10.5 ERA as a reliever. He's likely finished his Mets career 3 games under 500, but again, that's not the issue.
Right.
The 3.66 ERA is still pretty good, but that shows you how much that has risen over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, the dark night is now just gone dark, basically.
Yes, exactly. And again, Mets fans are going to say, oh, no, is this the start? He hasn't been doing his thing. How bad is DeGrom hurt? What's next? What's going to happen next to us?
Well, the clock is going to what's happened next to us, and we're going to ramp up and hit it right there. Again, we had Bubba on earlier, love it or shove it. He was on the Mets, and I was like, no, the Red Sox are clearly the best team in baseball. The Mets are now 17-15.
Yeah.
2 games over 500.
The Mets seem like they're the Raptors with self-awareness, right? Like they kind of understand their lot in life, and they don't get too caught up in the success.
That is absolutely correct. Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive's Home Insurance. Get your quote at progressive.com today. Okay, so Saturday Night Live put on a skit that didn't make air. And I'll get into that situation and how that's played out a little bit later. But we all saw the skit online, and it was pretty funny. It was basically poking fun at the Cleveland Cavaliers not named LeBron James. Right. Sort of doing what everybody talks about when you look at the Cavaliers. It's LeBron James and others. And the audio alone sort of explains the entire skit. So this is what happened.
The Cavaliers playoffs 2018.
We run this league. Nothing gonna stop LeBron James.
Everybody knows about LeBron.
But don't forget about us.
The other Cavaliers.
And whatever LeBron needs, we'll get it done.
As long as what he needs isn't basketball.
But we've got everything else covered.
Every time LeBron makes a free throw, I'm right there with that high five like, there you go, LeBron.
I always got LeBron's back. And his shoulders.
I hold LeBron's 3rd and 4th cell phone. You know that thing when you roll the ball up the court to save time? I'm pretty good at that.
And I only play in blue jeans.
I average 0 points, 0 assists, 6 personal fouls.
I sweep up LeBron's chalk. I run the pick and roll. That's when I pick up LeBron's laundry and roll it on over to his house.
I'm 53 years old. I have 7 kids, and 2 of them are also on the Cavs.
Our point guard is a Roomba. I'm still learning the rules, and I'm a slow learner.
We run an offense called hot potato. LeBron throws us the ball, we throw it right back. Hot potato.
I shoot granny style. And don't forget about the girl on our team.
It started as a gimmick, but guess who's the second leading scorer on the team? Even though I'm a heavy smoker.
And we're the other Cleveland Cavaliers. So we all just want to say,
thanks, LeBron.
Thanks, LeBron.
Thanks, Bron.
Thanks, LeBron.
And hey, sorry, man.
Wow.
That was really good.
And it didn't make air.
It didn't make air. My favorite one, I'm the second leading scorer on the team, and I'm also a heavy smoker. So for people that don't understand, here's what happens on Saturday Night Live. I used to be a page at NBC back in the 80s, and one of the gigs you got to do was work the Saturday Night Live shift. It was always awesome. But they do the show twice every Saturday night. They do a 2-hour dress rehearsal in front of a live audience, and then they figure out what worked and didn't work with the audience, and they pair 30 minutes out of the show. So they have two separate audiences that get
so the dress rehearsal audience, and they're gone, and a new audience.
A new audience comes in.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So you have the dress rehearsal, I think, is like 6:30 or something like that. So they come in, they play that out in front of the live audience, and then they get together, and whatever worked didn't work, and then they pare it down, and they run it again at 11:30. And
that got cut out.
That got cut out.
That's amazing because the rest of that episode was bad.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe most of the rest of those sketches made it through when that was what got left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Wow. So I didn't realize that there were two shows like that.
Yeah.
And you were Paige there.
Yeah, Paige in the late 80s.
So you did this stuff for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Who were some of the people on when you were there?
John Lovitz was there, Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman, Kevin Nealon, Jan Hooks, Victoria Jackson. It was pretty good.
So did you have like a lot of interaction with them?
Yeah. One of the things when you got to work the Saturday Night Live shift, you got to go. You got to one of the Page assignments in your little blue blazer and khaki pants. Was to work security at the door for the cast party afterwards.
Really?
Now, that was a fun.
So you
time.
never got into that cast party?
Well, you could get in after everybody was in a while. You could go.
So you got in there for a few.
A couple of
Were
times.
you ever asked to hold anything weird in there?
No, never anything like that.
So for those that watched 30 Rock, you were Kenneth.
I was Kenneth. We gave guided tours of the building. At that time, Letterman was on NBC. You could work the Letterman show. The Bill Cosby show was on. You could do that.
Right.
Phil Donahue was still on the air, but you did mostly you gave guided tours of the building and basically helped people out.
So did you have anything to do with like the guests?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you sometimes would you take this and bring this to somebody or do this and you.
Okay. Who was a jerk?
I don't want that.
Come on, they were a jerk. They deserve
it. No. Let me just say, Letterman was very gracious all the time.
Okay.
Very, very gracious. There were other.
If you don't want to say who they are, what did they do that made him a jerk?
They just pretended like you were a piece of dirt.
Oh, really?
You were not worthy of their time, which I get. I understand it. But the cast parties are crazy now.
Oh, I've heard about those.
Let's just explain the scenario here because you do the show twice, so you are
whooped.
burnt.
Yeah.
So the show ends at 1:00 in the East, and everybody stays on stage for a little while and chit chats, blah blah blah. Then they go back to their dressing room. So they really don't start leaving to go to the cast party until about 1:45, 2:00 in the morning. And then not everybody shows up right at 1:45, 2:00 in the morning. Really, everybody gets there at like 2:30.
Where is it? Is it at a same
different
spot?
places, different places
okay.
all over Manhattan. And the party really doesn't get bumping till about 3:30 or 4, and then it's rolling for a while. And then it's that scenario if you're at the party and then the party ends and you walk outside and that sunlight hits
Daylight
you.
hits you?
Oh my God, what is that? What is that? You see people like jogging by and they're like, you people, what's wrong with you?
So you would work security, but then you'd go in the party.
Go in the party afterwards.
What's the craziest thing you ever saw happen in that party? You don't have to name the people involved, but what's the craziest thing?
Well, let's just say this was the late 80s. Whatever you thought went down in the late 80s went down.
Yeah. So it was like an American Pharaoh stable covered in snow.
Well, it wasn't quite that, but it was a good time. I mean, it was just, you're like, oh, hey, there's Rick Ocasek from the Cars. Hey, there's Paulina Porter.
All right,
how's it going?
So if you don't want to mention who were the nice people? Who treated you well? Who were, give them some love?
Phil Hartman was one of the most gracious guys you'll ever want to meet.
He's funny.
He was so good.
Oh,
Dana
man.
Carvey was great. They were, look, for the most part, they were all really, really nice. They were. Because I think a lot of those guys knew how hard it took for them to get where they were and some of the crap that they did.
It sounds like a job that you would get burnt out doing, being paid there. You get run around.
It's hard. We used to call it the best job you'll ever hate or the worst job you'll ever love. I mean, that was sort of, because it was fun. Everybody, you could only be a page for a certain period of time. Back then, I think it was 18 months.
How old were you?
I was right out of college.
Oh, okay.
It was like a glorified fraternity.
Oh, my
basically.
gosh.
And you were all trying to get in the business and get to do something. So I think now you can only be a page for like 6 months.
So along those lines, when you did that,
Yeah.
so you went into it with a purpose. What was your end game?
To work with you.
I know that's not true. I mean,
I wanted to be a sportscaster. I wanted to do that. So I got a chance to make a demo tape and send it around, and that's how I got started. But it's fun and it was awful at the same time. But it was great because there was like 50 of us. I don't think there's that many now, but we had a ton of us that were all there together at the same time. We're all trying to, some people wanted to be writers. That movie that came out, God, My Girl with Anna Klumsky, who's now on Veep.
Right.
One of the pages was what wrote that movie and became a director because of that.
I was just gonna ask, of your page class, who is the most well-known page outside of you?
Probably her. Also, I'm not sure if there was anybody else there were a couple guys that got some acting gigs. Oh, he's from Providence. Matt Gallant is his name. He used to be on Animal Planet all the time with that show. I gotta look up what the name of that show is. But he had a show on forever. So he
was a page with you.
He was a page with me. Yeah,
oh, that's pretty cool.
Look, it was a fun gig right out of college.
And I did not know about the 2-show thing.
Yeah,
well, you were there a long time.
It's a long night. So when they're ready to party, they were ready to party.
Wow. So in all honesty, could you write a book that would be salacious?
No, I wouldn't want to do that.
No, I know you wouldn't want to do it. Could you?
I technically maybe, but my memory is so bad. I don't even remember.
Why,
Seriously.
Trey? Why was your memory so bad going in that party?
I can't really talk about that right now. But listen, it was fun. It was a good time.
Sounds like it. Right out of college.
That's
awesome.
Perfect job. It's like adult transitioning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not transitioning to anything doing that job. Are you kidding me?
There were some days you had to give the tours 4 times a day. Like 4 tours in a day. I know that sounds...
I was going to say, I went to practice hungover too. I get it.
No, but 4 tours is like... Each tour is like an hour and 20 minutes.
Right.
Hour on, hour off. By the time the 4th group came on, you're like, here's the studio. Look over there. Oh, look, there's that person. Thanks, get out. The first tour was always the best
always
tour.
The best one.
The 4th one, you were like dragging,
that's pretty cool.
man.
You were dragging. Cool.
Wow.
That's a nice job out of you.
It was fun.
All
it was
right.
a fun time.
You can tell us some of the bad stories and bad people in the break.
Yeah, we'll probably.
I won't leave the mic on.
No.
Yes, you will.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Here's a little insider travel secret. There are tons of empty hotel rooms out there just waiting to be booked. That's why there's Hotel Tonight. Hotel Tonight partners with awesome hotels to help them fill their unsold rooms, which means you get incredible deals. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can actually book up to a week in advance and up to 100 days in advance in top destinations. So download the Hotel Tonight app to start scoring better deals at better hotels now.
Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And then there's the tall guy sitting to my left. ESPN NBA analyst Ryan Hollins in studio, giving us the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Straight Talk. Your reaction when you saw the shot from LeBron Saturday night to win it?
It was so casual.
Yeah.
In a sense, like, it really wasn't like, oh, he was pressing, the game was on the line, what is he going to do? It was like, one dribble right, go full court, crossover, throw it up, workout, move off the glass, game winner, let's go home.
Right? It was crazy. I mean, it was crazy.
So on the other side of that, we're hearing a lot of criticism about Toronto, about a lot of things, but, let's break it down to that play. What should they have done, if anything different you think, on that play guarding LeBron?
You got to go full court. You got to press the ball. If you let a player that good be that comfortable going down court, who's hit a game winner already, who's beat you all series long, it's a problem. Like, you got to get, like, you have to make him do something he doesn't want to do. Or at some point in time, I don't care at the end of the game, somebody else has to beat you. I'm running a double at him. I'm cutting off his momentum. He was so comfortable moving down court.
And so how much of, I guess, all of this do you put on Dwayne Casey? Because we heard sound from Dave McMenamin the other day saying that if the Raptors get swept, he believes there's the chance that Dwayne Casey is not back as the head coach for the Raptors next year. How much of this are you putting on coaching?
I'm putting nothing on Coach Casey. This is a personnel problem. This is a man-to-man problem. What LeBron's doing right now, this has to be personal at some point. Every time I've competed against LeBron, every time I've played in the playoffs, like, it was personal. If you're not stepping on the court with every single fiber of your body, everything in your being to stop a guy, to shut him down, to get in his face, to disrupt, this is life and death we're dealing with right now. Not literally life and death, but you've got to have that type of mentality. Right. And if you're not going out there to compete like that, don't even step on the floor. And you got two rookies, OG Anunoby and Pascal, trying to guard LeBron. They're thinking about basketball, and at that point, the game is so much of a mental game, so far beyond any of that, and you're not seeing that. And like I could draw up the most perfect scheme defensively in the world to guard a guy or to shut him down, but if you don't go out and it's not personal for you, what more can I do?
NBA analyst Ryan Hollins with us in studio. Now, you played for Dwayne Casey in Dallas, so you have a relationship with him. But when you said they're thinking about basketball, what should they be thinking about if they're not thinking about basketball in that situation?
Well, it's got to be personal. Yeah. Like I gotta, like, to a sense, not like you. Yeah. And you know, we all
that works in this dynamic. In this
yeah, you guys are used to that. No. We he and we ha at Lance Stevenson. Mm-hmm. Well, he's blowing in ears. Here we go again, Lance. But what did Lance do? At the end of the day, as former athletes, you got to respect. He got on the floor and competed, and he brought a psyche and a mentality to that team where they pushed LeBron, even to the extent where everybody, they're not that good. You know, is LeBron washed up, too many miles on his body? And what's he look like comfortable? He looks real good when he's comfortable. So you've got, I don't want to say blowing his ear, but you've got to get after him. Like, it's got to be personal. Like Lance was ready to fight LeBron if it went there. And I'm not saying to fight him or do anything beyond basketball, but if this makes sense, fellas, man, like when you're in that grind in the playoffs, like, I've got to take you right up to that moment, and then I've got to keep playing basketball. But I've got to find a way to get there, and it takes some more if you want to win and succeed at that level.
Yeah, you got to straddle the line. You know, Sometimes you cross over that line. Sometimes you're right up on that line. How about the better games were obviously the Saturday games. How about with the Celtics and 76ers? We heard our own Stephen A. said all three games basically are Brett Brown's fault, which I think we all believe is way over the line on that one. But let's go to that. What was the issue? Youth? Was it scheme? Was it plays in out of bounds? Where did you see the fall for the 76ers here?
Well, for one, this couldn't have been the most worst take that Stephen A. Smith has said or the most bandwagonish statement. It was experience. And everybody jumped on me when I said, I don't believe in the 76ers. They beat bad team after bad team going down the stretch. They're not as good as you think they are. But guess what? It's still a process. This is one of the most exciting young teams that we've seen in a really long time. We're all excited about it. But guess what? Let's just stay excited. Yeah. Let's not crown these guys before it's time, and that's what you're seeing. The mistakes they made is none other than experience. There's the play where Joel Embiid, they called an ISO to get him in right at the elbow line area, go one-on-one, and we're supposed to shield off Horford. In the playoffs, Horford's been there before. That's nothing but experience saying, I know the ref's not going to make this foul call, and I'm going to run through Embiid and try to get this steal, and he ended up getting it. An experienced guy grabs Horford by the shorts and says, ref ain't calling it, I get the ball, get to my sweet spot, and get a good shot off. So that's nothing but experience. And in a 1-point game, in a 2-point game, just running the play, I'm sorry, dude. I can't draw up how to block your man, how to stay in front of him, how to pass and cut, like, any means necessary at this point. If I got to elbow you across the face to get a pass off or take a dribble, you just make it happen. And that's nothing but experience, and these guys having not been there before. But that also breeds greatness.
Yeah, so to your point, Ryan Hollins, basically what you're saying about the idea of Stephen A. Smith blaming all three losses on
out
Brett
of his
Brown
mind
is,
oh, hell no. Oh, hell
hell.
Just want to make sure I got that correct, right? All right, so
out of his mind.
Well, and I guess it's interesting because it's against the Celtics team that's the youngest team left in the playoffs. Like, is Al Horford's influence that big in this? Because you're dealing with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and a lot of guys who haven't been here and don't have that experience either.
Well, think about Tatum. What did Tatum do last year? He chased LeBron around and took his lumps on the head. He was falling all over the place, but he was competing. He was figuring out he had to guard LeBron even when we all knew he wasn't ready to guard LeBron, and now it's paying off. Now he's coming in. He's got a playoff mindset. He's matured 1 year, which in NBA years, that first year to second year, it's like a child, just having all the knowledge imprinted into their brain, and then, everything else is a coach from there on out. But that's what you saw from Jaylen. That's what you have from Al Horford. Remember when I said, hey, the biggest problem, the most playoff experienced guy on Philadelphia is who? JJ Redick.
Right.
I love JJ. That's my guy, but that's a problem because there's not much he's going to teach Embiid or Simmons. Simmons doesn't have a jump shot. What does he have in a game? In a playoff game when he's counted on 1 point. Inexcusable. Okay, so those are all big signs that when you're playing against a team that's just as talented, that's got another 6'8" or 6'7" guy who's athletic and who can stay in front of you, you're going to struggle, and that's what we saw.
All right, so speaking of teams that are talented, we finally saw, as Ryan Hollins is with us in the studio, we finally saw the Golden State Warriors death lineup, or the Hamptons lineup of those. Their 5 best players start a game for the first time since they've been there. I'm assuming we're going to see a lot more of this going forward.
Absolutely. That's their bread and butter.
That's their bread, butter, the dinner, the steak, the salad, everything.
Fellas, think about this. We talk about experience, and it's tough because what didn't we kind of want to see? Cleveland and Golden State again.
Yeah.
But we cannot excuse, once you have the talent, the experience, knowing what to do, where to be when you get there. When Curry gets into the lane, he can almost throw it blindfolded out to Iguodala in that left corner, or Draymond Green popping back behind the three. They've been there before. Defensively, Curry knows if he's beats, Dre's got his back, and KD's coming for a weak side block or X out to the weak side. So those guys know where to be when each other is on the line, and just experiencing them moving the, like, it's just, there's so many, like, there's no other, like, way to explain it. Like, they just know what to do. They know the tempo. They know the emotions.
So since this team now seems to be healthy again, we know they had the Knicks during the regular season like they did. Now they're healthy in the postseason. Should everybody be going back to saying, okay, we're looking forward to Houston and Golden State the way Houston's been playing, but Golden State the clear favorite?
Of course, Golden State's the clear favorite. Like, when weren't they the clear favorite? Like, when wasn't LeBron the best player on the planet? Like, this is confusing. Keep in mind, though, I'm excited to see this Boston series because they got 5 guys who can compete, who can score, who can defend. But LeBron's been the favorite. Golden State's been the favorite. It's not even like, hasn't never been a question. We're just glad coming into the season somebody else is in the mix.
Can Houston compete in this, though? I mean, a lot of people have been saying that they're maybe the better team now, but I don't know how we can say that. But
No. There's a slim margin. And it will come down to Houston playing a lot of one-on-one basketball, getting stops on Harden, and Golden State moving the ball. That was the difference against Cleveland. Cleveland had a very good team last year, as we know, with Kyrie mixed with LeBron James on the floor at the same time. But what happened? Fourth quarter, Golden State executed. They moved the ball. They shared the sugar. They defended. They forced you to where you didn't want to be. Sugar sharing, man. We got that sugar all around. But that's the difference.
That sounds like an SNL cast party. But Ryan, I wanted to ask you something now that we've gotten all the hard-hitting basketball questions out of the way. Something more important, because we've been talking about in a number of different settings the transition from life as an athlete, life as a professional athlete, to life after the fact. And you've had a great time transitioning here, but part of that is still living somewhat with basketball. And I know a lot of guys, once they're done, I mean, I don't know how often this is, but you see guys playing pro-ams and stuff like that, but even playing in pickup. And I know you've played some pickup around here. You've played some pickup around here at ESPN.
Oh, my gosh. I played some pickup around here.
Well, I got to ask. So you played pickup with Devin, who works on the show with us. I need you to...
Why is Devin beat red right now?
Because he knows I'm going to ask you about the alley-oop that Devin tried to throw you off the backboard. Can you give us the play-by-play of Devin's attempted fast break alley-oop to you off a backboard in an ESPN pickup game?
We are on a fast break, or a slow break, as you would say, because this is... I'm on the court with Devin. That's my dude right there. And he's beat red right now as I say it. And I scream out trailer. And I'm like, just Devin, I'm behind you. Give me the ball. I'm going to go score. Devin goes, it flashes in his mind. It's that moment where he goes, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for me to throw a lob to Ryan Hollins, as he said afterwards. And he goes full speed, closes his eyes, and bangs the ball off the backboard. And I'm running through, and I'm like, Devin, like, actually,
as it
perfect,
sails over your head.
Perfect idea. I would love to have a bit of a warning when this is going to happen, and open your eyes next time. And trust me, this isn't the NBA. You don't need to be Jason Kidd, Magic Johnson. Magic's throwing that thing and not looking. Devin, you need to be looking with both eyes when you want to throw that thing off the backboard.
So he threw it off the backboard and it bounced way behind you.
But half court.
Half court?
Half court.
But to be fair, that just shows that Devin has a live arm. Basically.
If I came out of an airplane, I couldn't get that one.
Listen, I'm doing that 10 out of 10 times. I'm shooting my shot every time on that. It's going off the backboard.
Actually, you were messing up his shot more than anything else.
Oh, my God.
Well, listen, for on behalf of the show, we apologize for Bubble Boy's lack of skills as a point guard.
And don't worry, if he had saw me, don't worry, just look back and throw it off the back. No one in that gym would have stopped it. Don't worry. You would have been safe. You would have been safe. I could have had some jeans on and there was no one stopping me from it. Some Timberland boots. Nobody's going to stop me from doing that thing, Devin.
We'll work on Ryan's appropriate passing as the point guard a little bit later on.
Awesome.
That was the best way to end that segment, Ryan. You're the best.
That's right.
We appreciate it.
Anytime, guys.
Coming up, we as a show have been issued a challenge.
Ooh.
And we'll get to that.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So, it was all good.
Hey, Golic! You've got nothing. Poppy, talk 10 seconds of trash toward the Golic. Tell him we're going to crush him in Family Feud.
Oh, this is just a warm-up, buddy. We're a little bit rusty, but the second time around is going to be epic. We're going to kick your you-know-what.
Yeah!
Wow. SportsCenter brought to you by Werner. For you pros out there, this is OSHA's safety stand down, and we've teamed up with Werner to take a timeout to learn about ladder and fall protection safety. Remember, falls are preventable. Go to WernerStanddown.com to learn more. That's WernerStanddown.com.
Okay, wow. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. So as I was playing golf on Saturday, I got a bunch of texts about some Family Feud situation here.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's happening?
Well, we're talking about game shows, and Family Feud obviously came up in that talk. This was
after who's Patrick Beverly's mom went on The Price is Right.
Went on Price is Right.
She
and
cleaned up.
Over $41,000 worth of prize. We started talking about favorite game shows, and we talked about Family Feud.
Yep.
And I said our show, getting 5 people, would destroy Le Batard's show.
Yeah,
getting their
that's
5.
fair. Yeah.
Well, I unfortunately left out Mike in the first 5. I said, Trey, you and me, and then we were going with 3 others, and I forgot about Mike. So I said the 3 of us, and then we go to the next 2. I said Allie and probably Brett, because we want a researcher involved in this. Yeah. They're going to battle it out. Le Batard, I don't care what 5 they have. We're going to beat them, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think
you would have
fair.
confidence in us winning that, right?
100%.
Just none of the fill-ins from their show. They're all really smart.
But yeah, the fill-ins don't count. Have to be a regular on the show.
No Dominiques, no Minas, no Pablos.
No Mina Kimes. No shot.
We don't want any part of that.
I said she's smarter than this whole show put together. So,
this side of the show.
So
don't tell her I said that.
You left out Junior.
It's not true.
Was that intentional?
No, I forgot.
Okay.
I said I
forgot I have a son who's on the show.
I did. You know who reminded me very quickly is my wife.
There you go. Yeah,
reminded me. So it's the 3 of us. We made it sound like Devin and Cliff had a shot, but they have no shot.
After that story with Ryan Hollins, Devin's out.
So,
but he got a live arm.
Dan thinks he should be in because he's a producer of the show.
thinks should be.
Well, here's the question, though, because basically when you're doing Family Feud, it's not so much about smarts, it's about figuring out what other people think.
That's exactly right.
So that's the difference. So there, I think Stanzik may have something over Brett. Brett may be overthinking this thing too much, and going for what should be instead of what people are. Or Brett, I mean, you understand what I'm thinking here, right? You do understand this.
No, I think you're overthinking.
There you go. No, see, you can't. It's what people respond to. It's not what they should
who
be
responds?
doing.
Carol from Virginia responds.
There you go.
If this were Jeopardy, I would go Brett in a heartbeat.
Whoa, Mike, you're with me.
Whoa.
You're with me
In a heartbeat.
I watch Jeopardy every night.
Listen, Stanzik, I'm not doubting your acumen. To me, you're a sure thing in this.
Yeah.
You're a sure. You're a sure.
guy.
Host, what's your segment on the Cinephile podcast?
Every
is the
man.
Everyman movie review.
Yeah.
Who's
All
going to be more in touch
So,
with the top
Everyman.
answers?
Who knows
The Everyman.
America?
So again, this happened on Friday, talking about game shows.
So we just got to figure out the
and I
the fifth
basically
and final.
challenged the Levitard show. So we're going to do this. We need to get on the celebrity ones with Steve Harvey, right? And do
Steve
on there.
Harvey is the only the only Family Feud host I acknowledge.
There you
Yeah,
go.
well then Richard Dawson, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
But see, the problem if we do it with Steve Harvey is he'd announce the wrong team as the winner.
Oh,
I've
you
made
went
it
down
That's the
a
only
terrible
chance the
mistake.
Levitard show would have. I mean, you hear their
made a
wimpy
terrible
show
mistake.
jingle? We got horns.
Well,
what do
look,
game shows have? Big horns. Play
Exactly
the horns.
right. Yeah.
I mean, Levitard's jealous of us.
Exactly right.
By the way,
or the horns.
after we played them, this would be our response.
That's exactly right. So the next question is, because I know we'd win, is what two out of the five of us would go to the speed round?
Oh, that's tough.
That one would be the tough one.
Clear.
We're going to have to do some training around
Yeah,
here.
I
We
think
need to
so.
do a couple of practice runs.
Well,
I know
we
they
should do
did.
that. Brett will come up with some training questions for us. We'll do that. And that way he can validate his existence on the team.
Yeah. He's
That
got to
way we'll
work
figure
for
that
it.
out. Coming up, a first that's been a long time in the making. With that, after this, we're winning.
I'm a one-trick pony. Literally. I show up at kids' parties and act cute. That's pretty much it. So excuse me for being bitter. When Geico says not only could we save you money on car insurance, but we do more. Like give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or even via our award-winning mobile app. Well, ooh la la. Aren't they multi-talented? Hey, I said organic carrots.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot.